Hey y'all, back again with another video, and I just wanted to do a quick review of the Netflix original series Grand Army Season 1. I want to do a character assessment of the main characters. So for today, we're going to do Leila. So I started Grand Army like a few months ago. Watched the first episode. I was like, okay, this seems pretty cool. Seems pretty good. Don't really know where the plot is heading. Don't really know what they're going to talk about, but we did get a pretty good brief introduction of each of the characters, like the 5 main characters. So I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, it's nice to see that they're representing like people from multiple ethnic backgrounds, which is something that we don't see often. But I think Netflix, along with a few other streaming platforms, have been doing a better job of that, like HBO and Hulu, for example. Like they've been getting better. So I was like, okay, I can watch this. I watched the first episode, and I have a tendency, like, if something doesn't, like, grasp me, like, really grasp me within the first episode, I'll tell myself I'll watch it, but then it'll fall to the wayside, and I won't get back to it for a few months, years, maybe later. So that's what happened with Grand Army. I watched the first episode, and I didn't go back to watch the full season until, like, a month or a month and a half after, and I finally finished it last week. So it took me a while to actually even start this video because I didn't even think I wanted to make a review on it. But now that I'm thinking about it, they touched on so many things that it kind of would be a disservice to not talk about it. But we're gonna make this very brief because I don't want to like do too much. But I want to start off by saying I don't have a favorite character. I really didn't go into that show thinking I was going to either, so I didn't come out having one. There were characters that I could stomach watching or scenes more than the other, but that doesn't necessarily translate to them being my favorite character. Leila, hands down, embodied what it means to be a pick-me. I don't think I've seen anyone pick me as hard as she's picked me. She went so hard with the pick-meism, and I'm trying to figure out how many times I paused the scene that she was in, but I don't really think I did. I think I just pushed through it, but I had to make a conscious decision to push through it. Let's start off with her identity issues. She's a girl who was born in China, taken away from her home country when she was a baby, adopted by a non-religious Jewish family that brings her to America, changes her name, and builds her new identity in the States. She's a girl who didn't learn her language. She didn't learn her culture back in China. She really doesn't connect to her Chinese roots, even though she legit physically embodies it. I understood that part. She's such a young girl. She's a freshman in high school, looking probably to reinvent herself, trying to experience what other people around her are experiencing, and she's trying to find her identity in a world where her parents never really like spoke about it with her or even tried to build it with her. So I understand where that comes from. But at the same time, she does it in such a mentally manipulative way. Like, when I found out that she was the one that was writing those notes that would appear in the beginning of the scenes, I was like, how did I not think of this? Of course, it's just, I don't want to call her demonic, but she gives very evil vibes, like down to her little comic strips that would appear on the screen whenever they wanted to, when she wanted to dominate her sexual conquest or destroy Joey, who was her make-believe competition. Like, it was sick. I was like, this girl, I used to think she was doing it in her sleep, like thinking about those dreams in her sleep, but this girl was actually like in the moment with these people and imagining those scenes. Do you know what kind of level of disassociation and mental power you have to have in order to take yourself outside of reality as reality is happening? Like, a whole conversation is happening and you're thinking about something totally different. It's sick. It's sick. Like, the girl was like, she was doing a lot. And then you have the other aspects of her still trying to go after the guy who doesn't want her, doesn't give her the time of day, embarrasses her, uses her, disrespects her to his friends, and doesn't pay her any attention, literally none attention. On top of that, he's a sexual abuser, and she still wants this guy. She still wants to be chosen and picked by this guy. Maybe it's because he's like popular in school. Maybe that's the reason, but I don't think that's reason enough to lose your self-respect. I don't think anything is worth losing your self-respect, but if there was, that would definitely be on the bottom of the list. She's so infatuated with this guy in a very unhealthy manner that she goes as far as to victim blame Joey to the reason why she was sexually assaulted by someone who she believed to be a friend, like a very close friend, basically best friends, family, actually. George was definitely family to her. So it's like, what? Like, Leila, like, at some point in time, you're gonna have to stop putting the blame on everybody else and start trying to do that in the work and address your demons. Because how in the world did you not knowing your birth parent, no, you not knowing your birth parents, or you not knowing your real name equate to you bashing a woman who's all about white woman empowerment, which is what you want to be, basically, white, because that's what your parents are and that's the community that you're growing up in. So how are you trying to bash the very woman that's trying to uplift women that look like her and women that you want to look like? It kind of doesn't make sense. On top of that, the girl doesn't ask for the attention from these guys. She just kind of like naturally gets it because of her personality. That's just like, her personality is the type that grabs attention. How do you think you're going to compete with someone who's been in the school longer than you, who has more friends, who's established those relationships and bonds? That's not how it happens. But I think it's a mixture of the coddling that her parents did, their failure in trying to teach her her roots, her inability to take on accountability, and the hormonal imbalances that come with entering high school, because during that time you are hitting puberty, you are going through a lot of emotional changes, you are going through a lot of social changes, you are comparing your body to other women, you are asking yourself like questions like, why doesn't that guy want me? You are developing crushes. People are generally starting to date around that time. Some people are engaging in sexual activities. There's a lot of things going on, so many changes that happen in such a short time span that someone can kind of lose themselves if they don't have like a good support system, or if they don't have a good handle in who they are at their core. So I get where you can lose yourself often. I just don't understand how far Leila has gone, to the point where she's lost her best friend. She tried to turn her best friend's rabbi into her therapist without understanding that that's more of a spiritual guide than it is anything else. Like, Leila is lost. And I know a lot of people share the same sentiment in that the fact that they think she's crazy, because she is crazy. But I think her problems stem from a lot of things that couldn't be addressed in the first season, which I hope will be addressed in the next one. I'm not gonna lie, I do hope she gets in trouble, because she's literally the reason why the school had to go back into their fully secure safety measures in order to assure that there wasn't a bomb that was gonna go off, even though that's what she threatened in her anonymous email. I mean, first of all, she's dumb because she sent it from her actual laptop, so we're gonna wait and see when that transpires. But she did all that. She threatened that there was a bomb, all because she got understudy, hated the fact that she got understudy, had the opportunity to become the main character once the person who she was understudy of got sick or whatever, and then bombed her opportunity. You can't be mad at anyone else but yourself. And you want to know the reason why she lost her understudy role? Because she was too busy and worried about chasing a dude that don't want her, aka George. Baby girl, like, self-love is a thing, and that's not something anybody else can teach you. Accountability is a thing. That's not something anybody else can teach you. Like, you can bring the horse to the water, but you can't make them walk through. Like at some point in time, honey, like, I know you're 14, and I know that is a huge transitional time period in any woman's life, any guy's life, any human's life in general, but I do need to start seeing some accountability from her. And I'm so glad the rabbi kind of told her that in a very nice manner, because even the rabbi was starting to realize that this girl has some sort of personality disorder. I'm sorry. The girl has some sort of personality disorder. To consistently deflect and blame others for your issues, to get advice that's very sound and misconstrue it to fit whatever you want it to be, it is a form of sickness, in a way that there has to be some sort of chemical imbalance in her head, because I do think she has a personality disorder. I just can't wait to see how that all unfolds in the next season. Hope that season comes by fast. But Leila, you got to get it together. I don't know her real name, but you played your role very well, because you for sure did make me dislike you. But we're just gonna hope for the best for her. That's all we can do. Thank you so much, guys, for sitting down and watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.